thank you.
And then,
Okay.
and then Eliza, do you know how we get access to that?
Jeff downloads it and he posts it. He keeps the recording and he posts it through YouTube, I believe.
Link.
And
the
he will
link.
post it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay, good, all right. So is everybody in agreement with using the town Zoom account and recording going forward?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Good. And so now, is there any public comment? Oh, no, I didn't finish. Finalizing the agenda. Looking at the agenda, is there anything that people want to add to it at this point?
I had made a point in a note to the group about maybe putting a fair amount of emphasis on preparing for the work with Jens Hilke as a priority item. I don't know where it's actually falling in the agenda now, but in order, because we won't have another meeting before we meet with him, and so it just seems as though we should, as a group.
Well, yes, it is. When we get to the part of the agenda that says review draft list of projects, events that have been mentioned in the PDF one, we can talk about Jens at that point. I talked with him on the phone today, and so we can talk some more. I'm thinking that, and what he and I talked about will help you all begin to do the thinking you want to do along with the PDF, which was okay.
Yeah.
So it's there. Okay, public comment. Is there anyone who wants to, Larry has his place on the agenda formally.
Is that like now? I don't have a copy of the agenda, so I'm not following. Do you want me to say something, or do you all have any questions?
Are you okay waiting until we, how long do you think you're going to take before I?
It's how many questions you ask.
Okay, well, I think depends on how patient you are.
Can we move him first?
Yeah, we could move him first. We'll go to, it's old business in a way, so yes, just to be respectful of Larry's time. Larry, you're going to talk about the Coverts Walk on April 23rd and the Wildflower Walk on April 30th. I
can talk about the tree walk. I'm not sure what Eliza's got in mind on the wildflowers, but I talk a little bit about the area we'll cover.
Okay.
Anyway, the tree walk is set up, and Dave Paganelli, County Forester, Orange County Forester, knows the property fairly well, and he's, I guess you'd say, taught or led 2 apple tree pruning things here, and also he's done a walkabout with me, just the 2 of us looking at it, and we'll cover various areas of interest. The hike itself will be probably pretty long. It'll go probably close to the 3 hours. And some of it will be up one steep hill, but then it'll be pretty walkable, I hope. the things we'll see is probably the apple tree type pruning and that, and then there's a mass tree release specifically aimed at songbirds, etc., that type of thing. Then we'll go on and look at probably the timber forest. There's a fairly good stand of pretty good sized maple trees, and the canopy's been released, trying to get a little more regrowth in that particular area. We'll go by a dense hemlock area that you can get some idea of what deer yards are all about. Deers don't really hang in that bed, but they can, and they do some. Then there's a 2-acre patch cut that we'll go and look at. Again, there'll be some openings, forest openings that have been made. Then we'll walk out along an edge, gives an idea of a uneven type edge versus a straight edge. Then a few plantings of oak trees, a couple oak trees that's been planted in that to introduce oak back into this area. And then we'll look at some open fields, and by that time I think we'll pretty well have the 3 hours spent, and that will be the walk. That's what I expect that Dave will lead us on. He may have some other ideas and some other things.
There's a vernal pool as well.
There's
Is
a
that right?
vernal pool, yes. I left it out, I'm sorry. Yes, there's a vernal pool that we'll walk by. We should be able to see it. It should be going. And that's probably the walk that'll take the 3 hours, take the time. I think everybody will be wore out by that time. And like I said, Dave will be leading it, and he knows each one of these areas that I talked about. There naturally is invasive species. Everybody's got them. I try to get rid of them, but no, they get ahead of you. They keep on. So we'll look at that too. And that will be the walk. The parking will be along Swanson Drive. There's a kind of a field there, right, where Dickerman and Swanson comes together. And there's a nice place to park along that area there. And then we can walk over here on the place and join up and, take off from here. And like I said, the first bit will be up a hill. That'll be a little tedious. But then I think we'll be off walking pretty good. Is there any questions that you have? Anything that you particular want to ask about?
Will the walk go through the area where the spring flowers are blooming too?
We will see some, but the main point, the waters will probably go the other direction. The flowers will go the other direction. We'll probably go up the other hill. I think there's more wildflowers. Also, there's I'm not sure what they are, but there's a pretty good sized patch normally, and I don't know whether they'll be out on the 30th or not, but it's a very colorful area, and it's a rather large area that gets covered with. So the flower walk, I see going a little bit different. I see it taking off on the other side of Swanson Drive, making the loop up through there. Eliza, if you do the walk on Saturday, maybe afterwards or before, we can do a quick, probably 20-30 minute trip around, and I can show you where I think the wildflowers, I guess you'd say the best viewing of those are.
Sure, sounds good.
And then we can come back along the stream, and there's usually some pretty good ones along the stream.
And how many people, it's open to the Conservation Commission and also to the public or not?
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, these things normally don't have that over amount of people. Normally there's anywhere from 5 to 15 people show up at them, and that's open to the public. Whenever we did an apple tree release or any other walk I've done like this, they usually run only 5 to 15 people. Now, maybe we'll get more than that. I don't know.
Do you want to set a limit? Do you think we should set a limit and have people register or anything like that?
I don't think we need to go into that. I think that we can if you guys want to set some sort of limit on it. Covet's probably is open to it, but I don't think that it's really necessary to set a limit. Like I said, there's many walks out there, and people do it. Now I don't know. Maybe locally, maybe the Conservation Commission here will have a better idea of how many local people you think will come. I would say that Covet's probably won't have more than 5 to 6, somewhere in that range of outside people.
Well, we had about a dozen for the forest walk last fall in the town forest, mainly of Tunbridge people. And I was going to try to get the promotional information out to those people specifically so that they knew this was going on.
Well,
So
yeah, I would say that 6 of those people or 7 of those people were the town forest committee on that particular walk. In other words, that was the committee for it. So about 6 of us was that. I don't think too many people from the Conservation Commission were there. You were, Betsy. Was there? Did any of the rest of you make that?
Yeah, Eliza was there. I think Ellen was there and Maureen. Yeah.
Okay.
We're all there.
Yeah.
There are
And
more of us. There are more of us now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Larry's has put his contact information on the promotional
Right.
bulletin.
Yeah.
And
So is this going to be advertised on the listservs and Facebook and that kind of thing?
No, I thought it would be advertised throughout the Vermont Covets, and then however you guys want to do it. If you want to put it on listserv and Facebook and those, go ahead. I have no objection to it, in other words. And also I have no objection putting the poster up there too, town hall, and post office, that type of thing.
Also, I'm not sure how much interest this will generate, but Lisa Sauceville from Coverts is scheduled to speak on Green Zine, which is an environmental radio show on Thursday at 11 in Royalton Community Radio. So they'll be talking about events, Coverts events then.
Okay, well, I relayed that on to Lisa and Rich. I didn't know which one had picked up the ball, but they said they would, so.
And we'll probably have it in the Herald, I would think. We would have it in the calendar in the Herald.
Okay.
The line, usually the one that is in charge of media outreach.
I've never worked with the Herald before. Does someone want to take that on?
I have, but I think
Okay.
what we should do is probably write a blurb and pass it by Larry to make sure it's really what will be reflected in it, unless Eliza
Yeah.
or others know well.
Larry
Um,
come up with the blurb that
Well, it might be better to have him review it than to ask him to do it, but I don't know. Larry, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Betsy already sent it to us.
I
Oh,
wrote something and sent it to Betsy.
oh, I see. Okay. I didn't know.
However, I called the commission a committee and did something with conservation too.
But
Or the-
that, those are minor things that can be amended for the Coverts Walk, but for the Wildflower Walk, he's got a blurb as well that I'll forward to you. I wanted to check with Eliza before we got any further with that promotion, because I don't know that we've officially asked her whether she's available on that day and will lead the Wildflower Walk. So I was trying to be sensitive about how involved she's going to get with
Okay,
that.
so my only
Wildflower.
point was that we should just have a blurb that we can, the same blurb that we can put in different things, and that should just be written and make sure it says what it should say.
Yes.
And then it would go out, and I can handle the Herald part once it's done if you want, or the listserv. But
So Eliza, are you available that day for the Wildflower Walk, or
What-
interested in helping lead that walk?
What time are you looking at?
I think we were at 9. Were we at 9, Larry? For that
9.
one?
12.
9.
Yeah, 9 to 12 on the 30th, I think is what Betsy's.
Yeah,
Said
I don't, we need 3 hours necessarily for the Wildflower Walk.
I would say a couple hours at
yeah,
most.
I think 2 hours.
So maybe we could have it at 10 if that's better. 10 to noon.
Yeah,
Either way for me. One of my kids has soccer, but that's why we're lucky we have 2 parents, so that's fine.
Okay.
Either way.
are we ready? Are we organized enough to be able to move on? Have people have what they need?
So I'll go over. I'm gonna advertise on Facebook and the listserv. Well, first I'll back up. There's the blurb that got sent to us, forwarded from Betsy, and I might put that into a Google Doc and share it so that we can change the committee to commission, and then we'll all have access to it. And I will put that on Facebook and the listserv, and Betsy will share the wildflower description with us, and I'll do the same with that. And Michael's going to do the Herald.
That sounds good. And when I share the Wildflower Walk verbiage with you, feel free to edit. I'll put it
Okay.
in draft form so you can add or subtract.
Okay.
Actually, maybe Scott should send it to the Herald. Are you still involved with the Herald?
I mean, I'm not, but I know everybody there, and I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I think maybe that would be the best thing. I'm going to hand off to Scott. I hope that's okay with you, Scott.
Yeah.
Do we want to put it, the Wildflower Walk, in the Herald? I mean, maybe that's making it too big, too broad of a.
I think we should.
Okay.
As it should be invited. The public should be
Okay.
invited.
Do you just want to put it in the calendar, or do you want to actually have it in the Tunbridge section? They're 2 different locations,
Is it mutually exclusive? One, or can you do it?
Yeah, it might depend. Sometimes they do it in both, or sometimes they prefer to just keep it in one. Sort of depends how much information you have for that week. It's
Do you
sort
have
of
a
the calendar.
Eliza, do you have a preference if you're leading the walk, how big or how many out of town people? No. Okay.
I would guess it can't be too big. Like over 30 people would be a lot of people, but let's have that problem when we have that problem. I don't think we need to.
Wouldn't that problem be nice?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not out of the question. I've done something like 30 of these for the Ashley Community Forest, and I actually had people register, and I had to turn people away after 15. I limited it to 15 because it gets a little out of control, I think, much past that. But anyway, I'm not saying we need to do that, but you know, we could be surprised. That's all.
Our feeling about the walk, the woods walk, is that if it gets to be too many, I can easily split off from Dave.
Yeah.
I'm sure I won't be as good as Dave, but Dave and I have talked about what we're going to look at. He knows the land. He knows what he's looking for, and a group of
Michael,
us
in the
along behind.
I think that's a good plan. I think that's a good
If
plan.
it gets to be too big, yeah.
Yeah.
in the
Now,
past, Michael, when you did the
Uh-oh.
bird walk, did you advertise in the Herald?
I don't think I did the Herald. It was the listserv, and I think we got 12 or 14 people on the bird walk.
I'm wondering if, you know, the covered walk will be quite widely advertised, but perhaps the wildflower walk would be nice if it were a offering to Tunbridge.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, so if you notice, I changed the address on the brochure to Tunbridge, whereas the address that comes out from Covets and so forth will be Chelsea, because that's the way I'm listed as. That's where I get my mail. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right.
So if somebody was going to get a hold of me, I hope they can do the email and phone number. Don't try to mail something to me, Tunbridge, because that doesn't work.
So just, are we at a place of closure for this discussion? Does everybody know what we're doing for the 2 walks, for getting the information out?
Let's just, can we do 10 a.m. to noon for the wildflower?
Yes,
Yes.
and let's not put it in the Herald.
Okay.
At least
Yeah.
right off. Let's try to keep it to Tunbridge
Okay.
for the wildflowers, ephemeral wildflowers. Thanks for volunteering, Eliza.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much then.
Thanks,
Thank
Larry.
you, Larry.
Sorry.
Sign off and let you get on with your business.
Okay, thank you.
Nice seeing you. Bye.
Good seeing you.
Thank you, Larry.
Hey, so just on these announcements for the paper, so somebody's gonna just send me the information for each of both of those walks, and we'll or no, we're not gonna put the wildflowers in the Herald, but
Just the covered walk.
just the covers and put it in the. I think the calendar makes sense, and people will see it, you know. And then the question is, do you want to do it the Thursday just before or the week before as well? You know, sometimes the week before as well, because sometimes if it shows up on Thursday evening, people already have plans for that Saturday.
Yes, I agree.
Are we set?
Sure.
Okay. Good.
Could I pause to ask people to mute when they're not talking, because there's this noise and I wonder if we could get rid of it.
Oh, that will be hard for me to do.
It sounds like you can stay on, because I mean, you can stay unmuted, but one
I
of the
heard
rest.
it too, and it's gone now. So it's
Okay. So going back to the under old business, engage in 2 sessions, long-term planning with Jens Hilke, April 11th and May 16th. And I wanted to have a formal vote on this, but that we all agreed that we were going to engage in this process. And so could we do that? And then I would be happy to talk with you about my phone conversation with him today, and some of what it is going to entail, and relate it to PDF 1. Is
So
that okay with everybody?
So has he agreed that those are the dates he's available to come by Zoom, or?
He's going to come in person.
Oh.
What we're going to do, there are two members who cannot come in person to the meeting on April 11th. But what we're going to do is have it on Zoom and record it and pull those two people in as much as we can, both talking about it today, and they will be able to watch the recording and come right along with us. It should be fine. Does that make sense?
So I would make a motion that we engage with Jens Hilke on long-term planning.
Second it.
All those in favor? Is that everybody?
Mhm.
Is that everybody
I think so.
saying yes?
Think
Okay.
so,
I don't. Yep. Okay, thanks. Okay. Would you, I can, so would you like me to talk? I can wait until we review the draft list, which would be really not much of anything, or I can talk now about my conversation with Jens to give you an idea of what's going to happen. You want me to go ahead now?
Let's hear it. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's asking for 2 hours. So from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. on April 11th, Monday. And he wants 20 minutes where we each speak to our interest in why we're on the Conservation Commission, why we joined, and what we get from being on the Conservation Commission, and just generally what our interests are. And then he's going to talk a little bit about statewide issues. And then we're going to brainstorm a list of what it is we would like to go forward with over a long period of time. So that we're kind of, what he's looking for is what motivates each of us. And then so that we eventually get to sort of a shared understanding of what it is we want to be doing. And it's going to be more than one thing, obviously, because we're going to be throwing out ideas, and we have lots of ideas. And then he's got, he has questions that we're going to look at and ask about I don't have this all down perfectly, but 9 questions that we kind of apply to each of the ideas that we put out there. And we're going to be doing some of that in between meetings. But we're going to look at for each item that we put on our brainstormed list, we're going to be kind of looking at these questions, which range from, does this project help us to strengthen relationships and involve residents, to does this project help us in our role of advising the Planning Commission, Select Board, and others on natural resource issues? And it goes on and it goes on. And then in between, there's going to be a whole spreadsheet that we're going to be looking at with our brainstormed ideas on it. And we're going to be thinking about our own time and our own interests. And we're going to be prioritizing, and then that all comes back together. And on the 16th, he works with that spreadsheet with us. So does that give you an idea of what? That's the best I can do, not having done this.
Well, thank
That
you.
sounds great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it offers an outline, but there's also a lot of room there for customization, I guess.
Yeah. The second meeting, I've got to look at my notes here. We tally the votes from this spreadsheet, and we review each item together, and we decide together which items to carry forward into a work plan. And then after that meeting, it gets sort of fleshed out a little bit. It gets fleshed out more into a work plan over 5 years. And
Could I ask who's not able to attend that April 11th meeting? Because it seems like that's a pretty critical, almost like a retreat type mission statement, pretty critical to the core of what we're going to be doing. And I hope that everyone could attend.
well,
I'm unable to attend. I'm going to be out of town for a couple of weeks in April, and I'm just, I'm going to be in Alaska. I'm not going to be around, unfortunately. So there's nothing I can do about it. I'm really sorry, but.
Okay. And was there another person that?
yeah, there was. Are you still here, Jory?
Oh, good. Well, I
You're muted, Jory.
She's working on it.
Oh.
Well, she's working on it. I mean, that's why we're going to put it on Zoom and record it so that that I'm hoping that, and why I did the PDF list of all these ideas, that between now and then, and both of them could be thinking about what it is they would want to put out there as part of their brainstorming. And it isn't ideal, but
Looks like Jory's
I'm
unmuted
okay.
now.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Arkansas on a river, so I won't be able to tune in, but I'm glad you're having it recorded. And I realize that, Jen's time is probably very precious. So, I'm not, insisting that we change the date or something to accommodate me. So I'm fine with that. I wish I could be there, but I can't.
Okay.
but both you and Scott, do you feel like you can, with the PDF I sent, plus your own interests and ideas, be developing your own kind of what you'd like to put onto the spreadsheet?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
happy to, and to provide whatever input I can ahead of time as well, maybe.
Yeah.
And what you in your description just now, it's saying like, okay, so there are a few things that at the beginning of what you're going to do in that meeting, perhaps I can put down on paper and at least give whatever input I can,
Yeah.
ahead of time, and then all I can do is when I get back, jump in from there. I unfortunately, I'm just I'm completely.
My guess is it's going to be an email spreadsheet that is going to go out, and when you both are available afterwards, you're going to be able to look at the spreadsheet. And so if you can send in some of your ideas beforehand, we can get them on the spreadsheet, and then it will be there with everybody else's, and it's in between the two sessions that we actually, each of us looks at it and thinks about our time and our particular interests and the prioritize. So
I mean, that'd be great. So if I could, after this meeting, I'll somehow get access to all that stuff. I'm going to be leaving on the 6th of April, so I need to get on that fairly quickly to get everything to you before I leave.
Yeah, I think you can just send, to my email, just some of your thoughts, and then I will enter them in. I won't do this. Jens does the spreadsheet, but I will represent anything that either of you want thrown out into the brainstorming, because anything goes.
Right.
Your interest.
I'll be in touch with you sort of on the side, after this meeting before I leave.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to do it now. But, and that's yeah. Okay, so we shall just enter into the process, and I think there's still, you will have your ideas on a spreadsheet along with everybody else's, and then on the 16th is, both meetings are important, but it'll be good. I think we can pull both of you in.
So will both of you be back for the May meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so just skipping to the review draft list of projects, events that have been mentioned across time, see PDF 1. I don't think we need to do a thing with that tonight. You each have it. And it's something that you can print off. It's something you can delete and forget about. It's just from, I just pulled it off, as I said, from meetings and agendas that I had available right here. Or it may make you think of something even further or even more involved or more specific. It was really meant to get everybody thinking about what's important to them and ideas. And so that's all it was meant to do. And so I'll leave it there.
Can I just make a suggestion that perhaps we make this a Google Doc, and that it becomes a more of a living document, so we can add to it as we go, and people put it in maybe in suggesting mode or something, so that we can see who's adding what, that kind of thing.
Well, I was hoping that somebody might suggest that, but I was not going to put it out there myself, so I'll just leave it for you all to decide whether you want it to be.
Well, Eliza, you've created a folder, correct? A TCC
Yes,
folder?
which now does everybody have access to? Because I realized that you didn't all before, including you, Michael, and you've been on the commission for a
Yeah,
while, so that
I don't think
was
I've
not
seen
good.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen it. But I think, I mean, it seems like that would be one way, especially for the folks that are on the move, to be able to add and be
Yeah.
be part of it. I'm not sure what the other, I mean, there's a PDF I can see, and then there's those 4 documents that you sent in that
Oh,
packet.
yeah, that was just stuff that was, had
Yeah,
been
but-
printed up and not on any Google Doc or anything. Yeah.
Again, I just think I think as a resource for the
Mhm.
for the group, I'm just suggesting maybe we sort of finalize that or create it so that we all have access and can.
Yes, there's vernal pool data on there as well, and a spreadsheet for the pools.
Yeah.
That you'd be interested in.
So Eliza, we can make that folder available, or just the link to it, and
The Google Doc.
You
I mean, I
are,
can.
Eliza, do you need me to retype it in Google Docs? The PDF one?
I mean, we could just copy.
yeah,
and paste
can you
this-
copy and paste?
Could just copy and paste it into it.
Uh,
Well, Ellen, I can take care of that if you'd prefer. I can do the copy paste. I can upload it. I just want to know. I just have to have access to the folder to upload it to.
So you should, like, if you start, it's difficult because this is shared and I'm not the original owner. Aaron, we started this when the whole commission started. So I find that folder by going in my Google Drive and searching commission, because it's the only thing I have that has that in the title.
Well,
Because sometimes for me, it's, so you should be able to do that because I shared it with you.
right, but if it's inconvenient, then we could also just start another folder and just move everything into it.
It would be the same for, I mean, it wouldn't change for anybody except the new owner, I don't think so.
All right.
I'm just trying to help you access
So-
it. Like if you,
Michael, do you know, did you get the
I'm looking at it.
4 PDFs?
Oh, wait, I see now. There's a Tunbridge Conservation Commission folder, and it's got quite a few things in it, probably 10 wildflowers, and it does in fact say that it's Aaron Weeds.
yes.
But
So that's,
you know, but here, what I'm going to do is I'll just stick it in the why didn't it go? I'm trying to send it to everybody. Sometimes it doesn't. Oh, there it is. So in the chat is the that is to the drive. I think that should get you to the whole all of them. Hand feeding bird challenge from Heartland. You know, there's a whole lot of them. Emerald ash borer, lots of stuff in there. This is everything, right? Right, Eliza?
yes. And
Does it have the pool stuff in there that you
Yep.
see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vernal Pool
and
Project.
that's, for example, the agendas are there for all the years.
And do Jory and Scott have access to that Google Doc now that you can
Well, I just-
see? Shared with them
Can you see
and
it?
and
Can you see
Cheryl?
it? Can you see it, Scott and Jory?
I had to
I don't
request
know.
access for it. I don't know who the original owner is.
I
But I
just
have
clicked
requested access.
I think I officially added to you now, so you should get an email that says, I don't know why that was so hard, but hopefully now it should be set up.
So I can't figure out where the chat went. All I have is a narrow strip of everybody's, little
Oh,
picture.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
just click on the bottom there, the chat, right?
Okay, I got it. I see it. So I will be able to access this. I should move it now. I should find it and move it somewhere now. Right?
If when you click on that link, it says you need to request access, check your email account and see if I have successfully shared to your
I
email.
just requested it access just now.
And I think that will go to Aaron.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
But it shouldn't matter because in your email right now,
All right, I'll check. Yeah.
you should see like this shared folder.
Okay, let me check.
So could I just ask, is Neil still on that list? Is he going to get notification too every time? Because we should take him off the list.
He is not on there.
Okay.
I'm gonna send my I don't know if anyone has my Gmail address, so that's why maybe I can't get in. So I'm just gonna,
Yes, okay.
so there it is.
I do, I'm able to get into the folder. I mean,
Hooray.
a document to make sure, but
So coming back to the PDF one, do you want me, that is not on there because I did it on Pages and then I turned it into a PDF.
Well, but Ellen, I can,
you want-
if it's easier for you, I could just copy and paste the PDF and create a document if you'd prefer that, or if you want to do it, that's fine. Either way.
I'm happy if you want to.
Okay, I'll do that.
I mean, it's not, I just literally,
Yeah.
there's no rhyme or reason or order, it's just everything that people have talked about.
So there are 4 documents: ideas from TCC, PDF 4, list of ideas put forth. Do you want all of them created into one, or do you want them separate?
Well, one of them was, it may be on there, the Tunbridge blooms.
I don't see that.
There, it's maybe you want to stick them all on just because
Well,
that
why
was
don't I-
something that Eliza had done, and then I had this wildflower project thing was even earlier than that, and then to be considered, I think, is nowhere online.
So Ellen, why don't I'll suggest this. Why don't I come up with some stuff, and I'll just offline with just you and I, we could decide on what gets posted and just how, if it's one document, if it's several or whatever.
Right. I mean, I think it could be, yeah, it was just,
I'll be in touch with you about that.
okay, that sounds good. And I did send people the PDFs, and so until we have it on Google Drive, at least you have something to look at.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
And I believe that you also included the planning commission list of tasks that were for the conservation commission. And that's a good,
And we'll get to that, yes. And that would be good to get included in this on Google Drive too. I just copied, I mean, I just scanned that off the town plan. But okay, are we set right now with that? I mean, with both of those items. And so let's talk about bluebird houses and overall debrief. How are we doing for time here?
Okay, we ended up with pre-orders, we were at 78 houses total. 39 pre-orders and the putting together day event. And that was 39 assembled and 39 kits. And we have received $930 so far of the 1,355 that is due us.
I have $20 of it.
All right. So, and
Check Tammy Mullen off the list. I've got her
well,
20.
I'll wait till I get it from you. I'm trying to, there are a lot of individual emails.
Yeah.
This is why I may suggest that we don't have people sign up for walks until we absolutely have to, because the amount of emails for this and like the different people I'm keeping in mind of how they're getting their birdhouses has a little bit overwhelmed me. So, but I did drop off $900 to the town from this project already in checks to Becky with a note, and as well as money from that people donated for Green Up, but that's a separate conversation. So so now I'm just waiting to get more. The librarians have been, Mariah and Marcia and Teresa have been really helpful in taking money. And so I just pick it up from them, and then Ellen and Maureen in setting up the project, and then Neil and Ellen and Teresa on the day of the putting together. We sort of got it all organized to have people pick up who weren't able to come. And I think there are still quite a few to go. And the day, like, I guess Maureen, you don't know, but lots of kids came through and built houses, and it was totally easy, and they worked really well, and people were really impressed with what they built. They're really happy with the product, and lots of kids had their hands on drills. And it was really cool. It was great.
And I had a bluebird checking out my bluebird house the day after I put it up.
Yay.
Wow.
So let's talk a little bit about what the sort of the organization, and let's see, there is production and then there's dispersal. What went well in terms of the production end, and what, if we were ever to do another thing like this, what could we do better?
Oh, well, from the production perspective, I think that there was, we have areas to improve on that. One, communication. We initially had an order for 38 houses, which didn't seem to change over time. But Eliza, you had this Bluebird House Community Workshop, which added significant amount of more work. And at our last meeting, I had talked about, capping the production. It was great marketing, and I guess, great success as a fundraiser. But Neil had run out of materials, and I felt badly, Eliza, for you, in that it was, the kids that supposedly this workshop was for. So I did go ahead, I went ahead and hopefully gave you what you needed. But I think if our lines of communication had been a little better, it would have been a little easier for me. But great marketing. That's about it.
I hats off to that. I mean, I think it's phenomenal to have made, well, we hope $1,300. I think that's amazing. Hats off to everybody who's really did that. And Maureen, I think we could address, I mean, if it's so popular, there's a need, and it'd be a shame to cap it if we can do this again and pull in more money. And maybe we just need to address that the production start sooner, or involve more people, or, not depend on donated materials, but instead, knowing if we're going to do a pre-order, and if there's enough lead time to be able to have an idea of how many we're going to have, and then put some money up front, and then and so we can buy materials if we need to. That, I think that's kind of a pleasant problem to have such demand, and I think it's solvable too.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Go ahead, Ellen.
I think that we made we're hopeful to make $1,300, but I think we do need to remember that the materials were donated, and that would take away from some of the profit if we'd had to buy stuff. So yeah, we'll need to make in my opinion, we'll need to make a list of, should it happen again, we have to make a list of what we need for materials and be sure we have them and be clear about what it is we really can produce.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I would recommend that you still go with donated materials because the cost of lumber is very expensive. So you won't, you know, as far as a fundraising project, I don't think charging $20 for a house or $15 for a kit would bring in that much money, really, when you have to purchase. But there are a lot of people that do have, you know, leftover pieces of lumber that's great for making birdhouses. But I do
Still,
really, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, that's all I have to say, really.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I think the way the plans were laid out, it's like something like a 1x6 by, I don't know if it's 8 feet long, but, you know, even if we went to somebody like Bethel Mills and said, you know, can we get this at cost or anything like that, then, you know, and then just build in what we need to for the price. I mean, sure, getting donated lumber would be great, but it might be odd sizes and stuff like that. And if we know we need 1x6 by 8 foot or whatever, you know, then.
Well, I'm just telling you that I purchased a lot of lumber and it is very expensive.
Right, but if we can just pass that on, build that into the cost of the house.
Well, then, I mean, I think you need to keep in mind the ability of the community to purchase, you know, birdhouses. I mean, they're pretty expensive. And I think that, you know, keeping them as the commission decided, pricing the kits at 15 and the houses at 20 was a really good thing. I mean, that's why it worked so well. But yeah.
Yes, it did work well. But I appreciate your comment about, and maybe we could do this well ahead of time, is asking contractors in town that have a lot of scrap lumber
Exactly.
to kind of
Yes.
set us what we could use for. But also, do you think slab wood would work?
No, it depends on what kind of a house, in my opinion, what kind of birdhouses you're making.
And slab, I mean, then you have a lot more work ripping them and getting them to size. It's just, that would be a real bother.
Right, right.
And it's also hemlock probably and not pine. And
right, which is not good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
I like your idea though, Betsy, to sort of go to people that might have this stuff as scrap, and then as a way to get materials.
Yeah, really good. I mean, George White.
Yes.
I'm sure has a lot of, I mean, possibly he does.
Let's sign him up now. Yeah, so
I just think it's not a outrageous problem. I think with enough lead time, I think we could work something out for materials.
Michael, isn't one of your sons a woodworker?
Yes.
Maybe.
I mean, and I'm sure he has wood lying around, but you know, it's odd. He generally works with cherry or maple and stuff, but
yeah,
I don't think we want that. We want pine.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I think there's enough people around there, and I mean, sure, I have a table saw, and I could, if it's odd sizes, we could just rip a bunch. And I think we should take advantage of this group of volunteers, some subset, and tap other people maybe to help. I think if it's just you know, labor, not just labor, but I think that's what volunteers are for. And Eliza, I think I think getting you some help and streamlining the way money gets transacted and how that works, and publicizing, I think we can streamline that.
Yeah, so yes, so before we embark again, we will want to sort of, we've had an experience now. I mean, this was sort of a, we just did it. And I don't think any of us knew exactly how it was going to go, but so we want to pay attention in the future to the advertising and taking orders, and Eliza that needs to be a sort of a team effort, and some help there. And production, it sounds like there are some good ideas for how we can move forward there in the future. And distribution, which kind of goes, if we had a treasurer, Eliza, would that have been easier?
I mean, right now we do. It's me.
Yeah. Well, you were,
but I think it's in some ways, sometimes it's kind of good to have one person hold that kind of role, because if you're communicating with people about how you pay, but it may be good to not have it be me. I keep walking myself into these things, and I don't know that it's exactly my forte. So we may have other people who are up for that.
Yeah.
But it's not so bad. It just yeah, it was just a lot of people, which was great, which was really super great.
Yeah. Yeah. But I would say overall a success, and I would the kid assembly at the library had a nice feel to it, in terms of people just coming through, and it just felt nice, Eliza. So that.
Yeah, and remember I got to introduce Ellen to a woman who moved to town who has 3 kids in the school now, who works at UVM Extension in community forestry. New Tunbridge resident.
Yep.
She has a moratorium on volunteering for a year, but it's almost up.
We've got her name on it. We've got her name on the list, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Anything else? Gives the notes will, the next time we fundraise, we'll refer to the notes of this meeting.
I would just suggest that maybe in the fall we bring this up as a discussion, and to talk about doing it again and what that might look like. And we probably don't have to decide a lot of things right now, but
no, we don't have to decide anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see a greater maybe bat houses and kestrel houses as well enter into the mix. But again, I don't want to overburden the process, but just I don't know. So I guess I'm just making the suggestion that
in the glory of having potentially raised $1,300 where we had $40 before. And congratulations, and I want to really thank Maureen and Neil and Michael and Eliza, particularly for all the work that time, energy, work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that brings me to, do you wish to elect a treasurer tonight, or do we wish to postpone it again?
I would say to relieve Eliza. She's doing secretary and treasurer, and I think it'd be a good idea to lighten her load here.
Do other people agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any nominations?
Is there any interest from
Anybody?
anybody?
Well, maybe. Could I hear a little bit more about what's involved? I heard something about a spreadsheet last time.
Oh,
I can tell you how, so I spoke to
Becky.
Becky, thank you, Becky at the town treasurer, and she is very willing to help us set up a spreadsheet that would work for us. So it would just be a matter of whoever we elect treasurer having a meeting with Becky if you're interested in having help setting up a spreadsheet. I have one right now that is just documenting what we've deposited. And so far, I only consider that we have 2 accounts. One is specifically for Green Up Day and one is general fundraising. So pretty simple. The town takes the check. So you would just, if we have any money coming in, they would, you just drop it off at the drop box at the town hall or walk in when Becky's there. I'm not quite sure how we would spend money if she would reimburse us. So say we hired a birder to do a walk and we paid them. I'm not sure if you would have to get the money in a check from Becky first or get reimbursed. I imagine Becky makes it pretty simple either way.
I might
When we,
about that.
yes, when we hired the Vermont Center for Eco Studies to do a talk at the library, I just took money that we had from the sale of the walking guides that was in an envelope. Basically, it came from the library itself because they were the only ones in town that were selling them at the time. And I later found out from the selectmen that we really have to have any expenditures approved by the select board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they told me, even though it was in our account, that they really needed to sign off on any expenditures we made, so.
Yeah, plus the paperwork for that gets real complicated if you're taking money from one envelope to pay for something totally unrelated. And it's not documented anywhere.
No.
That's kind of,
Yeah.
Well, I
I
don't think it needs to be that complicated because I can't find right this minute the email that I had from Becky, but around the AVCC, I think it was as simple as one could say to her, I'm going to need a check for such and such to pay such and such a person. And from our line item or from our budget, and she would produce the check, or you can pay for it up front and you submit the bill to her and it would get, I don't think it is going to be that complicated, actually. Like if we hire a speaker.
do the responsibilities of the position also include writing up something for the annual report, the town report? With including a budget, like other organizations submit?
that would be under the auditors, I think.
Yeah, I don't
Possibly.
think
No.
that would really be
We've
part
done
of
that
that.
before, but we've never had really much money other than what we got for the walking guides that was donated, basically.
Does it, who writes up whatever we do say for the town report?
Maureen did it this year, but I think the idea is that it was be sort of like the TQ. Somebody might take the lead, and then others could, as a Google Doc, could make suggestions. So I don't think it falls on any one person. Maybe a lead, but
I mean, I don't think it's money that I think for the town report, that we would say we had a fundraiser and we earned so much money. I don't know.
I think one of the simplicities is that we do not receive public funds yet.
Right.
There is a chance we could make a play for that at some point, but as we don't, I
Right.
don't think that there's much responsibility for official reporting.
Right.
Similar to the Recreation Committee,
Yeah.
although they may receive some public funds. They may request some, I'm not sure, but they do a ton of fundraising, but I don't think we see detailed reports of that.
Right.
I do think there is some recreation funding that's in some of those financial reporting in the town report, but they do get some town funds. I think it's $3,000, or it was, but in addition to what they generate fundraising. So they are, I think.
Generally, I don't think it's going to be a busy account, Jory, to maybe answer your
Okay.
question. I don't think that there's a lot of money coming in or going out, you know, I think here and there, but I don't think it's like a business or anything like that.
We're not in the town budget per se, anything in the sense of a line item. We're a line item, but it's money that we're putting in to take out for ourselves, to benefit.
Yeah, like the annual fee for being part of the Association of Vermont Conservation Commissions. I think it's $50 a year or something, and I think the select board has been paying that out of their budget, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, they have been, but.
I have to
Be nice if
looking at the town report now, I have to take that back. The Recreation Committee does provide a pretty detailed budget, but they also get $9,000 from the town, or did in 2020.
Yeah, well,
Ours, but your spreadsheet that you could set up with Becky could put this out easily if we felt called to do so, and it would be way simpler.
Yeah, I'm a treasurer for another town organization that doesn't get town funds. It's all fundraising. But it's not a lot of work except around fundraising time when an event is happening. And then there's a lot going on. But we also have a bank account, so I can write checks to pay bills. But we'll just have to think in advance if that happens and have, Becky do that for us.
Or I think that if you're really interested, it would behoove us and you to establish to meet with Becky and really figure out what makes most sense for us at this time. And because we're not asking the town for any money yet. And maybe never, I don't know.
So if you're still interested, Jory, after all
I was waiting
that,
for somebody else to say maybe
was-
they were interested too. That would be great.
Jory to be
Yeah.
treasurer.
Excuse me, what? Hear you.
I would nominate you, Jory, to be treasurer if you are willing to take it on.
Aye.
Oh, wait, I've just found it. Let's see.
Uh-oh, Jory's frozen.
Jory's
Jory, did you leave us?
No.
No, I'm my daughter and their internet is stable. So every once in a while things freeze up.
You're back.
Good.
We didn't hear your response to the.
To what? I said try. But then somebody said I have it, and
Oh,
is
no,
that
never
you,
mind.
Betsy? Oh, okay.
Never mind. The treasurer who gets elected needs to have a meeting with Becky and figure it out.
Yes, it's
For us.
reasonable.
And
Reasonable.
what is the term? Is it 1 year? or
Well,
is it
my
3 years?
term is only 3 years, so
Well,
the
and
ter-
But we decided to elect officers for a year at a time, and so,
but
that sounds fine. That's a reasonable.
But we had
for
actually
all that.
agreed to try to keep it on a predictable cycle to follow town meeting. And so that's why Ellen is interim. And so if we want to keep it at the same, on the same timing, we could do it as interim until our meeting following town meeting, when we will have sort of our annual meeting where we vote on all the positions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's only May 1st, and that it'll be away for a couple of weeks during that time, so it'd be good, come back to schedule that meeting with Becky and work all it out before I actually, have to. So that sounds fine.
I think we'll have our annual election in June following the town meeting, because our meeting is before town meeting.
So let's put it off.
Our
So
meeting
can we-
is the May
so can we-
16th, the town meeting happens, and then in June we would have a,
So if Jory is interested, can we nominate and vote to have her interim until June then? Is that the appropriate action?
sounds
I
good.
think so.
Jory, are you interested?
Sure.
Okay, I second, then I think Betsy nominated. And
Yeah,
I second.
new second, and it'll be an interim,
Yes.
okay? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Congratulations, Jory.
Hey, thanks.
yes,
Good.
thank you.
Thank
Phew,
you very much.
Thank you, Jory. I will, if it's okay with you, I will follow through on the finishing the birdhouse collecting of money and passing it along to Becky. And because I'm just in the middle of it, but I will share with you the very tiny spreadsheet I have so far. It's, in fact, you can find it in that shared folder. It says treasurer and it's in there. And you do that's just for you to take and do whatever you want
Okay,
with.
sounds awesome.
Phew. All right. Updates, needed actions, if any, Green Up Day?
I didn't realize that was a Conservation Commission responsibility. to do
I
that.
don't think it is technically. I just got nominated by volunteered by the select board,
Oh,
and I happen to be on the conservation committee. It's not, anybody can be the coordinator.
Well,
I
I think it's good if it falls
Yeah.
to us. And
Yeah.
Eliza, I know you've got a ton on your plate, and I don't know if it's a matter of several people being like on a committee, like 3 of us, for Green Up Day, if that would alleviate some of your work. But
I think the help, I mean, it depends on how seriously we want to pursue it. I can, advertising it is not too hard for me. I talked with Kathy Galuzzo, and they will have the Cook Shack open all day. And we have $130 or $140 donated for Bob and Ed Bucks to give people who come in with green bags. I think having volunteers at the dump on that Saturday to receive green bags and help, it's a little stressful for Mike down at the dump. Little might be an understatement. And so just having a presence there and trying to be helpful and in good spirits. And
Don't you have
And
a
to-
map?
I do,
Sorry.
and see that this is the part where we could get really crazy about trying to cover every mile and have people sign up, and we could do that. It's not necessary. I sort of, you can, there's like a little report to file with green up, but it's very much a volunteer type of effort. And so you can you can estimate the amount of miles you think were covered, but it is nice to have people down there. I had like the funny experience of, I would ask people, so what road are you going to do? And, or I would say, oh, I don't know you. Brenda was down helping me last year. And they're like, I'm so-and-so Durkee. And I was like, okay, and what road are you going to do? And they're like, Durkee Road. And I was like, and that happened a couple times, like White Hill. I was like, oh, okay, sorry, whatever it was. I don't know, but I felt a little silly. So people
Well-
maybe who know more people might make sense.
So are you the coordinator again this year?
Yeah, I'm getting, yes, I am.
So would it help for some subset of this group to be like your assistants or something like that? Or for
Yes.
you to, okay.
Yeah, so here's the volunteer time I would request, which is the Saturday before is when we've just scheduled that wildflower walk, and that is the day that we can hand out green bags at the dump and just remind people like it's next Saturday, and when you bring green bags in on Saturday, it's free. We can ask the select board about when they want to receive green bags again. I think we should make that really clear, because Mike was under the impression that they were only free on the green up day. And that hasn't always been how it was in the past. And that's not super convenient. And then more people come to the dump at once. And so if he could take them the Wednesday before too, and he would keep account for us if we were counting the bags. So anyway, volunteers the Saturday before to stand at the dump to hand out green bags and alert people to the event. And then volunteers the Saturday of to receive the green bags and mark down where people say they greened up and hand out Bob and Ed bucks and help people get trash out of their trucks and stuff like that. Especially, if someone wanted to organize any type of cleanup for that day, like we had whatever number of tires come in, close to 100 or something from 2 different spots. There was an organized cleanup, Betsy, up Ordway or Falls Hill Road. Falls Hill.
That was the Frosts.
Yeah.
Scott cleaned up all those tires at the end of Falls Hill, and
So
yeah.
that's another opportunity. If there was someone who wanted to lead a project like that, the select board said, we'll take all that stuff for free that day. And we got a lot of stuff out of the side of the road.
I'm willing to help organize and carry it out. So. And just
Can we
we can have a conversation offline about what that means.
Okay.
What
Could we
about, excuse me,
available at the library or at the town offices a week ahead to
Leaving the bags?
yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I'll do that. Yeah.
what about on the Google Docs, Eliza, just for just us, volunteer the dates and the task as simple as possible, and that you sign up right on Google Docs to volunteer for the 2 dump days and anything else that you put, so that it's present for us and we can commit. What do you think about that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Can we move on? Town
Yeah.
Forest Naming Contest, which is with the Town Forest Committee.
I have
Is
some
there
information
anything
about.
we-
I have information about that, and it didn't sit too well with me. I presented to the select board the planning commission this past week about a different matter, and I brought that up, and Brenda was at this meeting. It sounds like they may have named it themselves. Brenda said she was putting it on hold. I brought this idea up of a contest for town meeting, and she said, no, not this year. This was just a couple of days ago, Eliza. And she said, and then she said something, I guess they're logging, and they're gonna be using some of the timber from the Drew lot for a pavilion on the town garage lot, the one that's going to be named. And then it sounded like they were going to when they finished it, they were going to unveil and have the name or something. I'm not clear on it. I'm not clear on it, but she didn't seem to be that interested in having a naming contest this year.
No, so she and I just decided that at the birdhouse event that and it so I was under the impression that it would be later this year, but maybe I misunderstood how fast that pavilion is going to go up. But that it seemed to make fine sense to coordinate the naming with the
Unveiling.
of the pavilion,
Yeah,
and
but
to also precede the naming with more walks there so that people become more familiar with the space. And we talked about also working with the historical society to collaborate on learning more about the forest and making that more of a series of events that lead up to a bigger thing altogether. So we had just discussed that, and that makes sense with what we talked about. Except for the part where I may have misunderstood how soon the pavilion will be ready.
Well, so, but you had been talking about a naming contest for this year, for this town meeting.
We had been, and we changed our minds.
Okay, so, but that's the first.
Yes, but we were together. We talked about that. She
Okay.
didn't just do that by herself.
But that's the first this group has heard that.
Yeah, because it just happened last Saturday.
Yeah. All right.
So the town forest naming contest, at this point, we can set to the side for today.
I would say.
It's on hold for a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And she and I we're still talking about it. We're on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
It may not happen as soon as we thought.
So just keep us posted, Eliza, on that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I thought this is what you're going to say, that the Drew lot is the Drew lot, and I don't think naming that is open. It is my understanding that renaming that is not open.
I don't know. I think, I mean, it's one thing that's interesting about that to me is that it's just, and one of the things I presented actually for the Planning Commission was trying to find access through public-private partnership from, there are 4 lots that touch Route 110 and touch the Drew lot, and to see about getting public-private a trail that goes from the town up to the Drew lot, so that you're not accessing the Drew lot. Access right now is ridiculous unless you have 4-wheel drive. There's no place to park, and it just seems as if we're going to make the part of our presentation was about making Tunbridge more walkable and friendly, and to have a access to the town forest, the Drew lot from town would be really nice. And so anyway, that's kind of an aside, but because it is from the town village, maybe there is another name for it rather than Drew is only because it's on Drew Road and the access right now. But if the access was from somewhere else, then it doesn't make as much sense.
What it's 7:37, and because we're going to be and all of everything everybody's bringing up is sort of huge in many ways. There are many parts of it. I'm just going to suggest that people think about how they would want that think about the brainstorming list. And also we need to think about, maybe we need to meet with the town forest committee at some point. And so I'm just asking, is it possible just to put it on hold? We've started a discussion. I think it can get threaded into the brainstorming. We don't need to let go of it, but we probably can't do a whole lot more tonight with it. Is that fair?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
I would like to suggest that one of a member, and I would volunteer for this, attend those town forest meetings. Just to have a representative from the Conservation Commission at the meeting.
Well, I think way back in our, who decided? Oh,
Is somebody already doing it?
It was going to be Neil, and he's gone. So
Well, I don't want to, if somebody,
Good idea.
like,
So let's, before we go there, let's finish our meeting tonight. Let's go through our first
Okay.
meeting with Jens Hilke, and I'm sure it's going to be part of, I'm pretty sure it'll be part of the brainstorming. Yeah, so. And I would like to, the ARPA money, I would like to also put on hold until we can get through our brainstorming and prioritization, because I think that will help us focus. And the ATV, UTV town highway use, I think, let's see, there's an interesting write-up in the Front Porch Forum tonight from Chelsea, somebody in Chelsea about that. But I think I'd also like to just, I think we have to we do have to think about it, and I think if we need to look at sort of the environmental conservation aspects of where they're asking to go, and it's
Did Michael, did you have an update from Chelsea? You're muted.
So it's just the same thing that it's from Heidi Chapman, who was on a committee in Chelsea to explore ATV use, and apparently she's talking about bringing it up as a town vote now, because and there's a lot. I could share the email wherever gets that.
I'm interested in.
I could forward that, but there is another note about Royalton though. Royalton did pass it by one vote.
Yeah.
To allow ATVs, and this is a problem for Tunbridge because, as we know, the Royalton roads end in Tunbridge, and what are these people supposed to do? Turn around? Or Tunbridge doesn't have a policy yet, or an ordinance. So there is, there is active stuff going on in both directions. Those two directions anyway. And I think that there's a lot to talk about with the ATV stuff, and I think that we should probably have a statement that goes to the select board about our thing, and that's what Jory was mentioning. And Jory, you're right. I did say you could take the lead if you wanted, but I'm willing to go for it.
I don't think we should make any statement until we take a. I
agree, but I think we need to initiate it. We need to start.
Look at it.
But I think we need to talk about what that is, and I think it's maybe a lengthy conversation that we can't fit in tonight's meeting. So we either need to schedule a meeting separate from our regular board meeting to discuss this issue and plan how we get that information together to put in our statement to give to the select board about the ordinance, or something else.
So let me just, what I might have forgotten, but let me just, we're going to meet on the 11th to do this strategic planning, but our regular meeting would be on April 18th. And
I won't be there.
Huh?
I won't be there because I'll be away.
And you'll be away. Okay. So we'd need to set a separate meeting. And what are you thinking, Jory?
About time?
No, I mean about, you think all of us together, or?
I'm not sure. I know there's probably some people on the Conservation Commission who might feel like I do, since the proposed route goes past my house, that they might have a more pressing need to express their opinions or make suggestions to the select board about the ordinance. but I also don't have expertise or knowledge about what are the sensitive environmental areas that the proposed route goes through and who, but people like Betsy, I'm not sure, maybe you, Ellen, have more information about that, that we really need, or we need to get it from someone else so that we can put all of that information in our statement.
Yeah, I think I think we need to look at the routes, and I think we need to think about what is, I'm not even sure what the questions need to be around. I mean, the impact of ATVs on the wildlife, the soils,
All of that,
the
all of that.
community, the
Yes.
yeah.
And I think what again, so Jory had some excellent comments and suggestions, ideas. I started a Google Doc. I shared it with just her at this point. But certainly I think that this could be a way we move it forward too, that similar to the legal trails thing, that we somehow as a group come up with a statement about how, what this means for the town, and because the town is planning on drafting an ordinance, as you know.
Yeah.
And
Without-
so,
What it means for the town from the view of a conservation commission.
correct.
Only just from an environmental perspective. Right? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
That's what I'm trying to get at. Yes, it's not.
Yeah.
So
Did everyone get that thing that came out about the safety issues?
from
Yeah.
South Royalton, yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Historical Society.
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Well, it's really good, and they base their concerns strictly from a safety issue. And my feeling is that if the Conservation Commission can base the rationale from an environmental perspective, that is the route we should go.
Well,
Just
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
environmental. I mean, the safety issue, we have to get that out to everyone because it is.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Well, it'd be great to see that if you could share that, Maureen.
Yeah, yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think, I think you're right. I think it should be from an environmental perspective that's where we stand, but I don't think mentioning things about safety would be
recorded.
a problem.
Whoops.
Jory, you're up here twice now. Uh-oh, feedback.
Whoops.
Well, I can hear you, I can't see you.
We can see you, and you also have another phone up or something. Looks like.
And Scott,
I deleted them.
So maybe each one of us needs to. I'm looking for the.
Well, here's what I can offer.
Thing,
So,
but maybe each one of us needs to sort of formulate some questions and concerns from an environmental perspective regarding ATV use in the areas of town.
I think that Jens could help us with coming to some environmental perspective on this. But I'd like to see that Google Doc and maybe begin to think about.
I'd like to. Why don't I just share that Google Doc again, and maybe and then everyone can add to it. You could just add to it again.
Are you going to share that in our Google folder for the
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That would be good.
And then just again, do it in suggesting mode and just add
Yes.
things as you
Yes.
want. And then we'll see who's doing it, whose your names are. And then we'll be able to sift out the common and the agreed, the shared thoughts about this and
Yes.
create a short, I think a couple of paragraphs to the select board is all we probably need.
And I'm willing to send an email to Jens. I meant to ask him today, what were the questions we should be looking at environmentally regarding ATV use on
Yeah.
class 4 roads in terms of, I'll
Right.
just shoot him an email and ask him what we should look at.
I think it is timely though, because I don't know when the select board is going to be drawing up plans or draft ordinance. But I think that is in the works, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if anyone has more info on that.
They're not in any, yeah, I mean, it's not.
How could I share?
I don't have a sense that it's. I have more of a sense is that they're taking their time.
Well, I'm not sure,
Right.
but we should just be ready. We should just be ready.
Yes, we should be ready, and I absolutely agree about that. Ha, here it is. Oh,
You have the letter? Ellen?
no, I still, wait a minute, I'm gonna. I've got too many. Okay, so I'll find it, and or maybe you'll find it, Maureen, and
Yeah.
yeah. And get it out, and then we'll look at something on Google Docs, and we'll go from there. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, I'll share what Jory and I have started, and
I'll just check in with Jens around it, whether there's anything we should particularly be thinking about that we wouldn't have thought of. Phew. The new business, which would be the 2022 calendar planning new events, I think we need to just take a deep breath, and we've got things coming up and we can get back at it.
I would like to just mention one thing. You said June forward there, but I think if we're going to do any birding trips, for instance, then that has to be before June. That's the time, mid-May or so, and then again in mid-June, maybe 2 walks, maybe even more. But certainly May is a hot time, 2nd or 3rd week, and then mid-June is also a good time. So, but we still have time to do it. But I wanted to make that mention.
Are you saying you would lead them?
I could either lead them or find somebody to do it, but I think we should. I think the TCC should sponsor.
Okay.
Sponsor a couple in mid-May or so, or 3rd week in May, and then in mid-June. That's what I propose.
Okay.
I'd say, why don't you pick it? Can Michael pick a date and we'll just put it on a calendar?
Sure. Let me look at the calendar.
It would be nice to have something one thing every month, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Summer. If it's not bird watching, it's something else in July.
So I would say like Saturday, the 21st of May would be a good time bird wise.
That's town meeting.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, we could do this Sunday, or we could do the week before. Might be a little early, but we could do the 14th. If it's a warm year, it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then again on June 18th, say. So the 14th,
Saturday the 14th was
May.
April.
May.
That was May. Okay.
May 14th and June 18th. And one thing, so we did a town forest walk, and that was okay. But we also did a walk along Falls Hill Road, and that was really fun. And so maybe picking a road or two as well to walk along. That was really productive, actually. We saw, I don't know, 25 species.
Okay.
Saw a herd, I should say. Anyway, those are some dates that I can throw up.
Great. I have them in the, I
Yeah.
put them on my calendar. This is another thing to consider, maybe another night, is having a Tunbridge Conservation Commission calendar that then could be, people could add, a public calendar, so they could add it to their own. We can address that later, but thank you for the dates. I think that's helpful to put them on a calendar early.
And I sent out a PDF, and maybe we need a Google Docs with a calendar, like, yes?
Yeah. Are you thinking of a public calendar, Eliza? Because that could be on the town website. They have a calendar. Yeah.
I think if we just made one on like a Google Calendar that was, correct me like if I'm wrong, but I think if we made a public one on a Google Calendar, then Jeff could just subscribe to it, and we wouldn't have to feed him all our dates. Just if we put it, say if I put it on the calendar, it would just show up on his. I think that's possible.
While we're on the subject of Jeff, could you get the website updated with our new members?
And I'm also wondering if we could attach phone numbers to the emails.
Actually, Ellen, I'm glad you brought that up, because Janet Zug would like a telephone number for our commission, and I was hoping to give her yours, because mine is a 603 number and I'm embarrassed.
Didn't you include that on the TQ? Didn't you include?
I have
or is it just
emails.
email? Oh, just
I
email.
just had email.
I think that is more, well, actually, yeah, who knows? I can put my phone number in here right now if you want it.
Yeah, I'm not keen on that.
Okay.
Sorry.
But did you just want everybody's phone number, Ellen?
I just need one.
Yeah, just because like tonight in the mud roads, and I have the library key, but I'm home. And just so we can get in touch with one another more quickly if we needed to.
I'm putting mine in the chat.
So Ellen wants all of our numbers. That makes sense, so that we can communicate, so that we can say like, we're not meeting at the library tonight. And then I'm just going to use Michael's for our committee representation on the TQ. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, you could do that. But I was just sending it so that Ellen had it to start a list too. But you can use mine if you want, unless you want. Yeah. If Ellen, if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm not a.
Mine's out there for other stuff anyway.
Frustrated because I can't find it, but I will find it. All right, I'm losing the, all right. Local, regional, state collaborations, updates, begin review of town plan. I suggest that people just take a look at the PDF to become familiar with what they did right in the town plan.
And not just, I would say not just for what they've tagged as Conservation Commission, there's many topics that would fall under what we are already working on, actually. So
yeah,
just look over that whole list.
Yeah. It isn't the whole town plan that I sent, it was just the natural resources, but Wildlife reports. Does anybody have it left in them at this point?
Mhm.
Yes,
What'd you see?
Yeah.
a male Northern Harrier.
Oh,
Spectacular.
Wow.
Where'd you see
Yeah.
that?
MI Field.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, they're nice. We had talked about them last fall, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I saw a female, but the male I hadn't seen. Kestrel
Oh, already, good.
is back. Yeah. Came 17th. And bluebirds, I know Betsy, you said they're already on your house, but they're on ours too.
Yeah, we put, I took mine down last year because late in the season, because the house wrens were getting into them. And then this year I was outside and I happened to, let's see, it was on Wednesday, the 16th. And I saw a bluebird. And so in about an hour, I put up the boxes, and about 30 minutes after that, they were going in and out of the male and
Oh,
female.
wow. Huh. You know, I had a very interesting situation with, I believe it was 6 male bluebirds back in February. They came and they flew, they were like looking right into the kitchen window. I think they were seeing their reflection. And they stayed around for quite a while. I never saw anything like it. Their behavior, they were landing on the roof and drinking water from icicles, and it was really amazing.
What they say is that in February, sometimes they send out sort of, and they would be male scouts, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
And they started looking around, but I've never seen them that early. Well, I have seen them in February, but not around here.
Yeah. Yeah, they're here. They were last year too. It was, I couldn't believe it.
I've had some interesting sightings. I was on the Cape Cod and Wellfleet last week and for 4 days, and my wife and I watched some right whales feeding, which was really interesting. There's only about 350 of those, and those that left in the Western Atlantic population. And the Cape, there's an outfit down there. They've inventoried them, and they found about 100 this year so far, which is healthy, including some calves. But it was really interesting to see them. I had a telescope, and we could watch them feed and that kind of thing.
Wow.
But we also saw a bunch of cool birds too, including a peregrine that came and checked us out. I was saying I'd love to see a peregrine, and then one showed up. It was really interesting, and it flew right over us and stalled and looked at us and then went on. And then yesterday, I'm not going to monopolize, but I did finally make it on. It was canceled twice, and they finally rescheduled. I was on a pelagic trip yesterday, and we went about 20 miles off of Gloucester, Mass, in search of birds, and it was alarming how the experts were just dumbfounded. There were hardly any seabirds out there. There should have been mass numbers of rafts of birds, and there were none. We looked a lot, and we covered a huge circle, and very few birds. And then when we got back into Gloucester Harbor, there was a puffin, which was sighting of the day. It was a really interesting sight. It was the first puffin I've ever seen, actually. But and I got some good close photos of it. Anyway, it's alarming, and we started talking about the Gulf Stream and how that's it's been in the news about it possibly changing course and shape and duration or energy, and that's one of the things that came up as a possible reason. But it was alarming how few birds. But we did see gannets, razorbills, kittiwakes, a lot of different ducks, but just not large numbers, which was alarming. It was just cool to be out that far. It was very foggy too. That was the problem. Any bears yet? They're saying that bears might be out, and they're actually recommending to take take feeders in much earlier this year than other years.
April 1st is what
Well, they're
I
saying to
think
even,
might be pushing it.
Fair
Yeah,
brings
they-
in the snow.
I think in the daybreak, I don't know if anybody gets that digest, but it, they're saying they're actually encouraging people to start taking them down now.
Yeah, I believe it.
I had a bear visitor last week, not to the feeders, I've been taking them in, but just in the snow down by the barn and the
Uh-huh.
bees, which didn't make it, so nothing to worry about there.
Did it get to the hive? Did it take it apart?
It didn't, and in the fall, the same thing. I followed the tracks and it walked right by the hive, and we kind of discussed maybe moving the hive to a different location because it seems to be on that corridor, but we're figuring that out. But definitely fresh bear tracks. So
Mhm.
they're awake.
I read an alarming thing about somebody in Vermont being attacked by hit 2 people actually by a barred owl. Wasn't around here, but that caused them to bleed.
Yeah, I read that account too. It was off the Catamount Trail.
Yeah.
Really?
Did you read it off the Audubon thing I forwarded to people?
Maybe that
Yeah.
was where
Oh,
I,
maybe that was it. Actually, that's
Yeah.
it. That is it, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I always thought they were much more docile, but
Yeah.
Well, there's that documentary about mysterious death of this woman, and they thought maybe her husband had killed her. But I can't remember the staircase, right? And in the end, there's this. I don't want to like spoiler alert, but it talks about owls being known to kind of attack people and draw blood, and could that have been the cause of her death? I
oh,
don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Well, I've heard of
Interesting.
somebody getting attacked by a great horned owl. They were doing research, and they climbed a tree to the nest, and the great horned owl sunk its talons into this guy's head, and he died.
Oh,
And so they
Okay.
people started using motorcycle helmets after that.
Well, it's 8:06 and it's almost past my bedtime. Are we ready to adjourn?
I think so.
Okay. The next meeting will be April 11th.
No, it will. Oh, yes, it will. The next regular meeting is, and then April 18th.
Well, if you decide you want to meet on the 18th.
Oh,
I
I
must
think-
have missed that when I was off the call. What is on April 18th?
that would be our
I don't
next
know
regular
yet,
meeting.
but that would be our regular meeting.
Oh,
Do you all want to do 2 meetings in April like that?
I would think we should, perhaps we just limit it to 1 hour or something like that.
Okay.
Any thoughts about that?
I agree. I think we have lots we want to talk about, and it's on my calendar, so I know it's coming. And
Okay.
what was the second date? April 8th, you said?
18th.
18.
Our usual meeting would be on the 18th, I believe.
Okay, didn't you mention a second date?
Well, the 11th is with Jens. That's the special
Oh,
meeting.
okay, got it.
That's a dedicated meeting to
Right,
him.
right. I can't make either of
Is-
those dates.
Is that April 11th meeting from 6 to 8?
Yes,
Fuck, okay,
6 to 8, library.
okay.
and does that one-
And we will add, if you all want, we will add April 18th, 6 o'clock, the library, and we will make it a short meeting, and you all can tell me exactly what you want on the agenda for that.
Thank you.
And
So, Scott-
does the 11th need to be warned as well, since it's out of schedule in any special way?
I don't think so. I'll write, we talked. If I can
I
find
think it might have to be if it's a- if
I
it's a
will
public
be
meeting.
able to, I will send out a short agenda.
No, but I think what Eliza's referring to is because it's warned that our regular meeting is the third Monday, but it may be technically correct to have to actually warn this because we're all meeting, even though it's not I don't know. You might want to check with Mariah. I'm not sure.
I'll check with Mariah. I was going to send out an agenda for it anyhow.
Yeah.
And
So Scott, I hope you're doing some really interesting things in Alaska, like fishing or something like that. But
Actually, we're going to be skiing.
oh, oh, that sounds
We're
great.
going to be climbing, pretty much exclusively just climbing and skiing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, have fun.
yeah,
Thank you.
In the
I feel
south, in the southeast, or up in the southeast?
Probably partially a couple passes sort of near Anchorage and then down in Valdez. Yeah. So, but I feel horrible about missing these two meetings, especially the ones with Jens, but I you know, I'm going to be completely out of pocket. I won't have any way to dial in or anything.
not to worry. We'll get you included.
Well, just feel free to. I hope you can add your thoughts ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And you know what I think I'm going to do? I don't know if it's proper or not, but I'm just going to send out an agenda for April 11th, and I will send out another agenda for April 18th. And they will all be on Zoom, the select board Zoom account. And therefore, if anybody's interested, it'll be right there. We'll record them and there you have it. How's that? So are we set? Any motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Oh.
So we're adjourned.
Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night, everybody.